So I just want to give you a little introduction to Tai Chi. Tai Chi has a history that goes back about 600 years in China, and it was originally taught as a martial art, but also as a way to improve your health. And nowadays the focus is mostly on improving your health. It's spread from China to all over the Southeast Asia, and it's now spread to all over the world, basically to Australia, Europe, United States. They say there's millions of people who practice Tai Chi every day. One of the main benefits of Tai Chi is that you don't have to quit. Okay, most sports or activities at some point you just can't do it. Like one of my neighbors said he used to play tennis and then he goes, well, I had to quit because the court kept getting too big. He's just, he's slowing down. It's just harder to do that. So, but actually he played into his 80s, so he was doing really good. But that's, I would say that's probably more a rare individual to do that. But with Tai Chi, it's anybody can keep continuing to do it. It's not very strenuous, but at the same time it will tone your muscles and also improve your balance. So which is a very big deal, because as we get older, we have a higher risk for falling and consequently maybe breaking a hip or arm or things like that. So that will help on the preventative level. And then it has a lot of good effects for like arthritis, back pain. There's a lot of things that the National Institutes of Health have written about that say that Tai Chi is good for. So anyways, it's going to be good for everybody, but you need to practice. I just want to emphasize that at the beginning. And that's why I want to record it, so that in the future I'll send a link to Blake and then you can watch it at home between classes. Okay, so we're going to start with some basic warm-up exercises. So the first one is just to stretch our legs out. And once again, we do it to our own ability. Some people can stretch more, some people can't. If you have hip or knee or ankle problems, just be careful. And we're not here to compete. We're just trying to do the best for ourselves. So the first, we're going to move our legs a little bit apart. And then this is called the tiger's mouth in Tai Chi, okay? We're going to put that above our knees or on our legs. And then we're going to bend our leg. We call this sinking. We're going to sink on one side and turn the toe up on the other side. Just get a little bit of a stretch. And then we rise, means to straighten the leg, and then we go to the other side and then sink. And then we rise and sink. We'll be doing this 3 times on each side. Rise and sink. Rise and sink. Okay, good. So those will help stretch muscles in the back of your legs and also help with your opening your hips up a little bit. The next one I just call shoulder circles. And I'm going to face this way so you can follow me. But we're going to stand with our feet shoulder width apart, turn the left foot out 45 degrees, and then step straight forward with your right foot. So when I'm saying that, a lot of people have a tendency to step kind of in front of their other foot, but I don't want you to do that. I want you in line with your shoulders so you stay with a wider base of support here. It's much more stable. Then we're going to bend the front leg, that's sinking. And then we're going to rise, the arm's going to come up. We're going to turn slightly to the right and then bend our rear leg. And as our arm comes around, we're going to shift our weight forward. And we do this very slow. If you have shoulder problems, don't try forcing yourself, just do it to your ability, or if it hurts, just don't do it at all. So you shift your weight forward, front leg is bent. Rise, straighten your legs, sink. Shift your weight forward, rise. Do it one more time. Okay, we're going to switch sides. So bring the right foot back and then turn it 45 degrees and step forward with your left foot. And then bend your left leg, your weight goes forward. And then you rise, your arm comes up. We turn a little bit to the left, sinking on the rear leg. And then as the arm comes around, we shift our weight forward. And we do it again. So you rise, arm comes up in a circle, sink. Good. Okay. Now the next one we're going to do is to bend forward. And when we bend, I want to emphasize that you bend at the hips as opposed to bending your back over. So we're going to bend forward like this. So the way we're going to do is we're going to interlock our fingers. We're going to put one foot 45 degrees, left foot 45 degrees. The other foot's going to come out on the heel. Now if you feel unstable in your balance, keep it flat. But if you can, put it on the heel. Then we're going to exhale and bend forward. And then we're going to stretch up and inhale. And then we're going to exhale, bend forward. And then rise and inhale. And we'll do this one more time. Bend forward. Remember, bend at the hip. And stretch up. Okay, we're going to do this on the other side with the other leg out. So right foot 45 degrees, left foot out this time. And same thing, we're going to bend forward. We exhale, bend at the hip. And then exhale as we bend forward. And one more time. Good. Okay. Now the last, I just call it a twisting exercise. It involves turning from side to side. Hi, come on in. You just sign in right there, please. This is a, I'll just demonstrate. We're going to turn from one side and then back to the other. Okay, so I'm going to turn this way so you can follow me. So we start with our hands by our side, then we're going to move them up so that our palms are facing each other, like so. And then we're going to turn to the right, and our left hand will come up and our left heel will come up. We're going to look slightly over our right shoulder. And then we're going to come back to the center, move slowly back to center, hands facing each other, turn to the left, the right hand goes up, right heel goes up. And then back to the center. Turn to the right, the left hand and left heel come up. And back to the center. Right hand, right heel come up. Back to the center. We'll do this once more each side. Turn to the right. Back to the center. Turn to the left, right hand, right heel. And then finally back to the center with the palms facing each other. Okay, so those are the basic 4 warm-ups that we do. We don't do a lot of warm-ups because a lot of the exercises, they're not strenuous to start with, okay? And then we go through things like the very first one, we're going to be moving our wrists and our arms and shoulders. So it's the whole series of exercises kind of like goes through your body and gently warms you up to do these. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is we're going to stand with our feet shoulder width apart, hands by our side, and we're going to be turning our wrists in a circle like this, okay? But at the same time, we're going to have this up and down movement with our legs. Once again, it's called rising and sinking. So we're going to start, our hands come out. We're going to sink, bend our legs just to what's comfortable. And then rise, and then turn your wrists inward. And then sink. Hands will come down, palms face behind. And then we repeat that. So you rise, turn your wrists in, and sink. Rise, turn your wrists in, and sink. So our hands are kept about waist or hip level on this. It's not up high yet. We are going to do it higher, but right now. Okay, now we're going to do this same movement but a little bit higher, about waist high. Bring the arms up and down. Arms come up and down. Just imagine you're in a pool of water and you're just kind of floating or treading water, just very, very slowly. Your arms should feel light. And then this time we're going to go up to shoulder height. So arms come up and down. Arms just float down. Good, everybody's doing really good on this. Okay, then we're going to leave our hands down and stop. And then if you need to, shake your legs out, because you're going to be using new muscles, your legs. You know, once again, it's like you've got a gate that hasn't been open for a while and it creaks, right? Or it's stiff. And this is what we're doing. We're kind of learning how to lubricate. We're not using oil on it, but we're using our just slow movements are kind of lubricating our joints and getting them working again. So sometimes you'll feel a little bit sore in your muscles just because it's new muscle groups that you're working. And sometimes your knees will start snapping and popping unless it hurts really seriously. I mean, it hurts a lot. It's not generally a good sign. It's when things are loosening up. Okay, the next one's going to be similar. We're going to start with the legs bent, and then we're going to rise and our arms are going to float up straight in front of us and let our palms face, our fingers face the ground. Okay, so let's start again. Rise, fingers face the ground. Good. Again. Once again, this idea of floating, everything's light. Okay, this time when we come up, when we sink, we're just going to bend our elbows and turn our palms so they face the ground. Okay, so if you just watch me for a second, I'll demonstrate. So my arms are going to come up, and then I'm just going to drop my elbows down. They were straight. I'm just going to, as I sink, bend my elbows, palms face the ground. Okay, so let's add that on there. Same thing, we'll start with our legs bent. Rise, let your arms float up. And then just drop your elbows, relax. Okay, start again, start with your legs bent. Arms float up. elbows relax. Okay, again. Arms float up. Elbows relax. Now this time we're going to continue. We're going to have the hands draw in, so the palms face outward. We draw them out. And then finally we're going to turn them inward, and the hands return to the starting position as we bend our legs. And then we'll repeat. So the arms float up. And then relax your elbows. Hands point towards the ground. Rise. Hands face away from you. Turn your hands in. Sink. Good. And we repeat. Rise. Draw the hands in and sink. Okay, good. We'll stop right there, and then you can shake your legs out a little bit. So, as I mentioned last time, the Tai Chi that's normally taught is a series of interconnected movements like we're doing, but they keep going on, they keep building on each other. But to do that, it takes regular classes, more than just every other week like we're going to be doing here, to learn the sequence of movements. So what I'm teaching you is parts of those movements, parts of the movements out, and then doing them individually. But near the end of class, we'll link them together in random orders. And that way you have your own set of movements, but you don't have to remember which order, because if you don't remember them all, it doesn't matter. It's just, if all you remember is this one, then you just practice this one. If you remember this one, which is just a little bit more complex, just do that. So we'll just learn these different ones, and over time you'll become more familiar with them. And like I said, at home you can just, whatever way you want to move, you'll be able to do it. Okay, the next one's going to be a push, because once again, Tai Chi was a martial art, and so one idea is pushing. And so we're going to stand, I'm going to face this way so you can see. We're going to turn left foot out 45 degrees, right foot forward. And once again, you want to step straight ahead, not in front of your other foot. So the idea is that you have a wide base of support. If you move forward or back or side to side a little bit, you're pretty stable this way. Then we're going to bring our palms up, facing straight ahead in front of our chest, like this. And then we raise right foot forward. Then we rise and push. We sink forward, relax the arms, rise, the hands float up like they're going over a ball, and sink. And then rise and push, sink forward. Rise, hands come up like they're going over a ball, and then rise and push. Sink forward. I'm going to just face you now. And then right hands come up. They're going over a ball. And then rise and push. Very light. Okay, so one idea about this is that when we push, we use the whole body. So one principle of Tai Chi is that we don't use independent movements. We're not just pushing like this, because you have arm strength and you have body strength. The body strength is using your whole body. So the idea of this push is like you're pushing something heavy, okay? If you've ever tried to push an automobile or a refrigerator or a piece of furniture, you don't just push something heavy just with your arms. It doesn't work. You've kind of got to get down and you've got to push with your whole body. So we want to have that idea of using our whole body, but without tension. It's not isometrics, we're not trying to be tense, we're trying to relax, but get that whole movement. So we come forward. So as I come back, my arms come back, I'm sinking. And then I rise and push. As I push, my legs are coming forward, arms are coming forward, all one unit of the body. Okay, so that's the idea we want to have with our push. Okay, let's try again. Left foot 45 degrees, right foot forward. Rise and push. Rise, hands come up and sink. And push. Relax your arms, they float up. Rise and push. Okay, let's try the same thing but with our other leg out. So we're going to have the right foot 45 degrees, left foot forward. We're going to start by sinking on the rear leg, bending the rear leg. Then you rise and push, sink forward. Okay, this time we're going to push. Weight's going to come forward. We're going to bring the right foot forward and take a step forward. And then we're going to push again and sink forward. We push, we're going to sink on the front leg, we're going to bring the left foot forward, and then rise and push. Okay, good. So there's two ways we can switch our legs. One is we can, when we're doing this, we can start with one leg out and push and then bring the other foot back and push, or we can do like we just did, taking steps. So we push and you sink and then you just bring your other foot forward and then you start off with a push again. Okay, and then you can sink and then push. So a couple different options to do that. Okay, the next one is, there's an exercise called rollbacks. And this one is a very good movement for just your whole body, because everything's going to move. And it's very simple to start with. Feet are shoulder width apart. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to sink from one side to the other, but at the same time we're going to be turning our hips a little bit. And I'm going to exaggerate this right now for you, okay? But we're going to bring our hips are going in a figure 8. We don't really do it this much, but I'm just to show you, hips come out and around, out and around. And we tie that into the rising and sinking. So let's start. I'm going to have you follow me. I'll face this way because it's easier for you to follow. So feet are shoulder width apart. And then we're going to sink on the right leg, and then you rise, turn your hips a little bit, and then sink and turn onto your left side, rise, and sink and turn, rise, sink and turn, rise, sink and turn, rise, sink and turn. We're shifting from one side to the other. Rise, then you can just let your arms just follow along, just kind of swinging back and forth. Arms just follow the turning of your waist. So as you turn to the right, your arms swing to the right, rise, sink and turn. Good. So one of my students years ago, his wife was visiting class and saw us doing that, and afterwards she made a comment. She goes, "This is like undulating seaweed." You know, you see the seaweed in the ocean, and I like that image a lot. Just kind of like waves go in, waves go out, just kind of gently back and forth. But once again, this is something you can do anywhere. The leg movements, you're waiting somewhere at the bank, movie theater, traveling, whatever, you know, waiting for something cooking on your stove, you can just do this basic movement. But when we're doing this, the ankles are turning, the knees are turning, the hips are turning, and then with our arms, you know, we're doing our wrists, elbows, shoulders, so everything's turning, plus we turn our head a little bit, so everything's moving, but in a very gentle way. Tai Chi is also described as a standing form of yoga. Now, the difference between yoga and Tai Chi is that with yoga, generally you need to have more loose, comfortable clothing or maybe special clothing. You generally need to have a very flat surface, preferably having a mat of some sort. Tai Chi doesn't need any of those things. We can be dressed I can be in a suit, you know, I could be in a tuxedo and still do Tai Chi, right? Or I could be on Mount Lassen and bend up and do Tai Chi. You don't need any special equipment, and you don't need a special surface either. This is very ideal, a nice flat floor, very comfortable, but if you go out in the parking lot or in your yard, you can still do Tai Chi. So it's not something like you need a special place or special equipment to do, very portable. You know, if you're ever staying at, you know, traveling, staying in a hotel room, you still can practice your Tai Chi. It doesn't take up much space. Okay, the next one is going to be based on an idea called movement called cloud hands. And we're going to have the hands move. Palms are going to face each other. We're going to be moving back and forth again, but we're going to rotate our hand like we have a ball. Imagine having a ball and going back and forth from side to side. So we'll also incorporate a little bit of the rising and sinking with this. So I'm going to turn this way once again so you can follow. So we're going to start with the right hand up, left hand underneath. This imaginary beach ball there. We're going to turn to the right, rise. Hands are going to rotate over and sink and turn. Kind of some of the same sinking we've been doing. We turn, the hands rotate over, so right hand is on top. Then we're going to shift to the right. Hands will rotate over. Once again, just imagine you got a ball you're carrying. Invisible ball or balloon. There's no right or wrong when you're doing this. You know, basically you're just moving back and forth. I just want you to keep your hands facing each other and just move slowly. Okay, good. I don't know if you need to shake your legs out or arms out or shoulders. The next one we're going to do is going to involve taking some steps. So there's an idea in Tai Chi about being light. And you know, a lot of times we kind of plod along through life, we're very heavy, but we want to think about being light on our feet and just in general. And the idea is just called stepping like a cat. So if you see a cat that's chasing a prey or whatever, you know, the cat's just going to sneak up and it's very slow movement, stalking, right? So we use that idea when we take our steps. So we have to center our body, means to like get your weight all on one leg and then slowly put our foot out and very quietly shift our weight forward and then get our balance and then take our next step. So we're just like that little cat. Or you're walking through the house, somebody's sleeping, you don't want to wake them up, you get up at night to go get something to eat or whatever, right? Creep through the house, you want to be very quiet so the floor doesn't creak. Very slowly. So this is actually, it's very difficult to do this because when we walk, of course, we're walking at a faster pace. But when you slow yourself down, you really have to get your body centered, I mean, balance all to be able to put your foot out very softly and quietly and just slowly transfer your weight. So we'll give that a few steps. If you have trouble, and it's not something that you pick up usually like in one lesson, it takes lots of practice to do this. But the main idea is you got to feel like you've got 100% of your weight on one foot, and then you can take that step and put your foot out and then slowly take your weight forward. So we'll just try that with a few steps. So we're going to start with our weight on our right leg. And if you need to, you can hold your hands out for balance, kind of like the tightrope person. And then you can step out and then slowly shift your weight forward. And then draw your right foot in close and then slowly step out. You don't have to take big steps. You can take very small steps, whatever's comfortable, whatever you feel balanced. Just shift your weight forward. When you feel more balanced, you draw your foot in, and then you're going to step out. Shift your weight forward. Draw your foot in, step out, shift your weight forward, draw your foot in, step out, okay, good. Let's back up and we'll try that again. Yeah, I know. I turn around, I'm afraid. What's going on? Why are people after me? No. Well, you know, if somebody sneaks up on you and they want to rob you, you know what to do, right? You go, here's my wallet, because you can always replace your wallet. You can't replace your life. So I'd rather give $100 away or my driver's and credit cards, take it. Fine with me. That's my view on self-defense. Okay. So we're going to sink on the right leg. Step out. Then shift your weight. Slowly draw your foot in. Step out. Shift your weight forward. Just imagine you're that cat, very slowly creeping up. You okay? Good. Okay. So that's going to be, we're going to do this at another time. We're going to do this actually going backwards, okay? Which is a little harder, but it's the same idea. You're going to be stepping backwards and doing this. We won't do this today, but we'll be doing the same kind of thing. Once again, you have to use more of your sense of where, kind of feel with your toes. When we step forward, we step with our heel first. When we step backwards, we go toe first, kind of sense where we're going. But we'll work into that maybe next time or the couple times down the road. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we've got a few movements. We're going to put them together. Like I said, the regular Tai Chi is taught as a form, a series of movements, and they're very specific in their order. But we're going to do it in a very non-specific order. I'm just going to do it. A random number of times and stuff, but just to create our own little Tai Chi movement form. So we'll start with our feet shoulder width apart. And you stand straight. In Tai Chi we say suspend your head top, hold your head straight like you have a string holding your head up. So you want to have your head up. And you relax your shoulders. Our hands are going to come out. We're going to sink. We're going to do that very first one. We're just going to turn the wrists at waist level. So hands come up, turn in a circle. Okay, let's raise them to about waist level. Yeah, this time we'll raise them to shoulder level. Remember, just imagine floating. Okay, this time we're going to take a step out with our right foot, and we're going to do our push. Hands come up like going over a ball. Remember, when we do this, everything moves together. So as you come back, your arms come up and they draw in. So we sink on the rear leg, and then we rise and we push and we shift our weight forward. Rise, hands come up. Push. Okay, this time we're going to draw the right foot back, and we're going to step forward with the left foot and do a couple more pushes. So push forward, hands float up, sink on the rear leg, rise and push. Good, everybody's doing really good on this. Push. Okay, this time we're going to bring our feet back together. Hands are going to go down. And then we're going to let our arms float up straight. We're going to do that repetition, and then bend your elbows, bend your legs. Draw your hands up. Arms float up, nice and straight. Okay, I'm going to turn around so you can follow me. This time we're going to do the cloud hand. So we're going to turn, palms face each other. Turn to the right, hands rotate over, left hand's on top. We're going to rise. Turn to the left. Okay, now we're going to take a step out just a little bit more to the side. Then we're going to do the one that's I call the rollback. So sink and turn on the left, then rise, Sink and turn on the right. Rise. Sink and turn on the left. Rise. Just relax your arms. Let's do the cloud hands again. You bring your hands close to your body. We're going to take a step out with the right foot. We're going to do the push again. Push. Come back. Push. Relax your arms. Push, shift your weight forward and then take another step, and then we're going to do another push. Okay, as you draw your hands in, draw your feet together. Then hands are going to go down, and we're going to do what we started with, hands in a small circle. And then a little bit higher. And then shoulder height. And then we're just going to let our hands float down and stop. Okay, so I just random movements, okay? I didn't, you can do any sequence, any way you want. I just chose them and try to make them move into each other that way. But if you can remember just one or two exercises and then practice at home, that's where you're going to get the most benefit.